Hey guys, Trey here with ExtremeTerrain.com, and today we're checking out the Eibach 1.5-inch Pro Truck rear lift blocks for the 2005 to 2023 Toyota Tacoma. If you're a Tacoma owner looking to add some extra rear lift for off-road clearance or level out the stance after adding a front lift, these rear lift blocks are a practical solution. This is going to be one of the easiest and most affordable ways to lift the rear end of your Tacoma. These 1.5-inch lift blocks help lift and level the rear of your Tacoma, providing better wheel well clearance for larger tires and making off-roading a little easier for uneven terrain or just riding the fire trails. This will also help for heavy loads in the bed of your truck or towing large trailers so that when you do have that extra weight on your rear end, it isn't sagging at all, but it's more just leveled out. When you are off-road, you'll get an improved approach and departure angle, helping you avoid scraping the underside of your truck. These blocks are also useful for anyone who has added weight in the back, like gear, tools, or a bed rack, because they'll help offset any sagging and maintain a more balanced ride height. Built with durable billet aluminum and finished with corrosion-resistant coating, these lift blocks are engineered to handle the demands of both daily driving and tough off-road conditions. The design also ensures a precise fit to your Tacoma's factory suspension for a more secure and stable ride. The Eibach rear lift blocks are priced competitively around $180, making them a great value for Tacoma owners wanting to add a little extra clearance and change the stance without having the full cost of a suspension lift. Installation is straightforward with a 2 out of 3 wrenches rating on the difficulty scale and a 3-hour install time. Basic tools and a jack are needed, and it's recommended that you double check your alignment after the install to ensure everything is properly set. Now let's check out an install video from one of our ExtremeTerrain.com customers.
So some of the tools we're going to be using today, I'd recommend an air gun of some kind, impact gun. I have a 1/2-inch ratchet. I have a 17, a 19, a 21, and a 22 deep impact socket. We have a 17mm wrench, and not 100% necessary, but in the event we can't get that shock out, we're gonna have to undo the lower shock bolt. I got a punch, a hammer, and in the end, we're gonna need a torque wrench to make sure that the shock bolt and all of the Eibach U-bolts are torqued to manufacturer's specifications. So here's the product number that I'm going to be using. Make sure you have yourself a good pair of safety glasses. And I got some gloves here too. And I always like to roll around a little bit with my creeper seat, which is very convenient. Get yourself a jack. And then also we're going to be utilizing some jack stands since I'm doing everything in my driveway. So if you see, this is what the leaf spring setup looks like on my truck. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is undoing these 4 nuts off of the 2 U-bolts on either side of the axle. Loosening that up, removing that. Going to lower the axle and placing the block on the top side of the axle between the axle and the leaf spring system. So I'm going to get this jacked up. Going to get the wheels off, and we're going to get started. Hey, good morning guys. Today we're going to be installing a 1.5-inch Eibach lift block system on the rear of a 2015 Toyota Tacoma Pro. I installed a Bilstein coilover system in the front, raised it about 2 inches, hoping I was going to level it out. Looks like it's a little bit higher than I would like, so what I'm going to do is bring up the back now and give it that rake look again with the rear just a little bit higher. Let's find out what size socket we need to get the original off. Yep, looks like it's going to be a 19mm to take off these U-bolts. Okay, so I have my jack here loosely, just help support this axle for now. So we're going to remove the 4 U-bolts. surprisingly, it wasn't too difficult to get them off. I've never had these off in the 9 years that I've owned this truck. Pulling the back off. But the original is much shorter than the new one. So we're gonna do the new install now. We gotta take the shock bolt off. We're gonna be using a different socket size for that. I have all the tools. We got our wrench. We're gonna be using a 17 millimeter to take that off. On the other side with our wrench. So now we're going to be removing the shock lower bolt. Now we're going to be removing the shock lower bolt. Keep all of our hardware safe. So we can find it again. Washer and my nut. We'll just pop this out of the back. So we just remove the bolt, and I'm just going to pop this out so it's loose for right now. That should allow us to lower. There we go. So we're getting that. You see that separation? Lower the axle, and up here you can see the pin in the leaf spring. So we're going to make sure that lines up with our hole up the new block. Okay, there should be a party. Let's see what happens here. So I'm probably going to need a little bit more. It's 1.5 inches. So hopefully, yep, it came right down, no problem at all. So, come down even more. Oh my gosh. Looks like we need quite a bit of distance here. What I'm trying to do is line that pin up with the old hole. There we go. Make sure it sits. And then okay. So this is going to be the hard part. Getting that to line up again for me. What's going on is that this pin is not quite lining up from the leaf spring into the block because it looks like it's shifted a little bit. So I'm going to use a hammer or a rubber mallet to tap that over until the two meet up. So let's see how this is going to work out. So I used both hands. Ooh. Okay, I used both hands to kind of pull on the axle while I was pushing on the leaf spring, and the two seem to marry up now. So now I put a little bit of pressure on there with my jack. Just want to make sure the block looks pretty straight. It does. So we're going to install the new U-bolts front and back. It's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest with everybody. worst feeling in the world is having your truck apart and not being able to go anywhere. All right, so we're going to install new hardware, the washer, and the nut on each U-bolt end. On the top here, there's little ears on either side of this rubber stopper that it's like a little channel for these U-bolts to sit in. So that's where we place the top at. Oh. One bad thing about being an old guy, you have some brain farts sometimes, you know. So we have to put our lower plate on first before we install the nuts and washers. Let me get a little brush off here, get some of that dirt out. Keep some of the old dirt though, because we like the old stuff with her. Stay with our truck too, you know. Okay. Kind of get them lined up a little bit. And we should be holding that. It's always better to do things on the lift, you know? But you play with what you can play with here, right? Let's just get that started. And I'll adjust the top here again. There we go. Start it. Okay. Number 2. To the other U-bolt, why not? Get that going. Okay, and then I'm just going to check up top to make sure both upper U-bolts are in behind the ears like they're supposed to be. It looks good. So let's go ahead and put these nuts and bolts on the remaining 2. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. My block in there looks pretty straight, not too shabby. So I do see a little gap back here. Hoping that's gonna level out a little bit. Actually, maybe I can just hit it with the jack here a little bit. All right, so let's start tightening them up in a cross pattern. Oh, forgot. So on the Eibach, it's bigger than the OEM. And it's actually going to be the 22 millimeter. Okay, so we got our 22 millimeter socket. don't know if you see what I see. Looks like I have more space on the left-hand side here than I do on the right. So I'm going to try to loosen this up and shift it a little bit. Just want to make sure it's going to be a good install. So let's try playing with that a little bit. Definitely looks more symmetrical now. As you can see, it's a little equal spacing there. So we'll go with that. Okay, next thing I want to do before I get the shock back in, I'm going to torque these nuts here to the manufacturer's specification. Manufacturer's specification of torque on these bolts will be 90 foot-pounds. So we are going to get our torque wrench out, set it to 90. So here we go. And just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to keep crisscross the pattern as I go. It hasn't gotten to the tightness I need to torque yet. So we're just going to keep going. I'll get that first one to make that noise. First one to hit. It's at 90. That's number 3. So all 4 of these are now at 90 foot-pounds. So the next is going to be the shock. We're going to replace the bolt, and then we're going to torque that to 75 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and bring this down. Actually, yeah. Here we got to bring it up. Bring it up so that shock can get in there. Okay. All right, so get our bolt lined up. Hopefully, we gotta go just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, we got our washer and our nut. A 17mm bolt, and when I change my torque wrench, we're going to go to 75 foot-pounds. Good. And then we'll give it the final once over with the torque wrench. There we go. Okay. So, despite some of the original issues we had in the beginning, looks like this side's pretty solid now. Okay, everything's tight underneath. And everything looks to be set in place pretty well there. All right, so we're gonna lower this and go to the other side. I'm gonna be working on the passenger side now. And as you know, the original bolt size to take off is 19 millimeter. So we'll go run these off. We're gonna remove our shock bolt. Move our shock bolt right here. We're gonna use a 17 millimeter socket along with our 17 millimeter wrench to hold that in place. Let's just go ahead and we'll move this over just to here. We won't use those because we need our washer, nut, and bolt for later when we do the reinstall. Let's see if I can get this bolt out of here. So we removed the lower plate, 4 bolts here, and we are going to take off the shock bolt right now. English. We can always try this guy if we had to. There we go. From this area, you know it's loose. And then we're going to lower the axle, give us our space in here again. I think that should be about enough. And line up our block. Oh, no, we're gonna need a little bit more. This might work. Go. So we've got it seated inside the area that needs to sit. This is the hard part. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on it. Raise that axle up. Raise this axle up a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same as on the other side. I'm going to kind of pull on the hub and push on a leaf spring and marry the two up. Go. Looks pretty level here, straight on the sides. We're going to drop our new U-bolts into place. We're going to find our old plate, we'll brush off some of that junk out of there. And find our new hardware. And then start our reassembly. Okay, last one. But we stay in the shade, we get a little bit of a cool breeze. It kind of helps keep our sanity. All right, so remember last time we had uneven spacing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack this up a little bit more, try to compensate for that little area there of space, and then adjust these before we tighten them up, and we should be good. This up a little bit more. Now with any luck, it'll get to where they're supposed to be. Okay, let's go ahead and start tightening those up now. Okay, so we have to find our 22 millimeter for this new setup here. And just go along, try to get them all somewhat in the same area. Don't go and tighten too much. And again, we're going to check our spacing up here. This looks pretty good so far. Crisscross pattern. So I'm checking my spacing. I don't really like the spacing here, so I'm gonna loosen these up a little. And I think actually what I need to do is probably just move the block over here. And we'll just crisscross until we get to that point. All the bolts symmetrical. Finish that in. There's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third. Number 4. So now we're going to install the shock bolt in here. We should have a jack on the other side. It's a little tough doing it on your own, so I got a screwdriver here to help me to just raise the shock up a little so I can get this bolt started. There we go. Got that through. Let's button this up. And we'll just snug it up like this. And don't forget our ratchet, our combination wrench. Okay. And then we're going to switch over to our torque wrench, and we're going to torque it to the manufacturer's specification of 75 foot-pounds. Okay, that should be good.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for a review and install of the Eibach 1.5-inch Pro Truck rear lift blocks for the 2005 to 2023 Toyota Tacomas. And for all things Tacoma, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.